Welcome to the NitWits, a weekly roundtable discussion on the Penn State Nittany Lions. Our panel features a longtime Penn State media and NitWits tag team, Neil Rudell of the Altoona Mirror, and Mark Brennan of Lions 247 with Fight on State. The NitWits are hosted by WTAJ Sports Director Peter Terpstra, and each week we welcome a former Nittany Lion as our special guest analyst. The NitWits are brought to you by Irwin Financial, Raymond James, an independent firm and a firm foundation for your financial future. By Coldwell Banker, no one will work harder to sell your home. By Courtesy Motor Sales of Altoona, where courtesy means a great deal. By The Allegro, where fine cuisine is a way of life. By Health South, your rehab choice. Health South Altoona, ask for us by name. By Monarch Cleaners, for all your dry cleaning, uniform, and mat rentals. By Reed and Solaney Orthodontics. Doctors Reed and Solaney provide orthodontics for children and adults. By W.S. Lee & Sons, your local food distributor. Go Penn State. By Allegheny Street Cigar. Allegheny Street Cigar, Blair County's only cigar lounge. By McAleer's Plumbing, specializing in plumbing, heating, and air conditioning, serving our community since 1886. By Shields Awards and the Sports Shop. We have a fantastic selection of awards, apparel, and memorabilia at great prices. By Freedom RV. Get ready to tailgate this Penn State football season with Freedom RV Rentals. By Jethro's, serving ribs, steaks, Italian specialties, and the famous Prospector Salad since 1983. Takeouts, delivery, and catering. By Lucky's Beer Distributor. Let Lucky's Beer get you ready for PSU game day. By Remax Results Realty Group. Committed to a culture of professionalism, productivity, and exceptional service. By EasyToUse.com. Your Yellow Pages connection in print and online. By Lions 247 with Fight on State, your online home for Penn State football and recruiting coverage. And by the Altoona Mirror, featuring Penn State Game Day every Friday and Penn State Extra every Sunday.
Welcome to Nittany Nation Overtime.
Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to Nittany Nation Overtime. This is our preview show where we get you ready for the season. We got the NitWits with us. Getting you ready for this upcoming season. Mark Brennan from FightOnState.com. We got Neil Rudell from the Altoona Mirror. And then Joe Nastasi, I get it right?
That's right.
Former Penn State wideout. I'm Peter Terpstra. Let's start this thing off right. Penn State is the team that went through the rebuilding process. Now they're a team, looks like they're starting to get back to championship form. Joe, let's start with you. Where does this team fit into that picture, you think?
You know, I like, the climb, what you were just talking about. Yeah. The climb was really difficult from where we started, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I know it's been well documented, but as we go on and you see the building process, and I heard James say it the other day about, let's not get comfortable saying we're back. And it's true. I mean, you're always building, you're always looking not past what you're doing now, but you're living in the moment, but yet looking for next year, looking for more recruits, looking to better your staff, better in everything. I love the direction they're going. I think they're doing a great job. I think as a staff and as a university, they're doing a great job of where they're at. The kids are getting there, the athletes, so on and so forth. From where we started to now, I'm just impressed to this point of us being actually national contenders within a short amount of time.
Yeah, Kirk Herbstreit picked them to be in the college football playoffs. Yep. And, when you look at where the program is, back-to-back top 10 finishes, I think you got to go back to 93, 94 to see. So it's really been 25 years since the program has been on this solid ground.
And it's been a team that's kind of been on that cusp of making the college football playoff. What do you think?
Yeah, Peter, first of all, welcome, and you are allowed to be a nitwit as well.
Yeah.
That'd be nicer than Neil, obviously.
Kind of a career moment for you.
Yeah, already. I know, right?
I think that, the key for me this season is 2 years ago they were back. Last year confirmed it. This year, with all of the players they've lost to the NFL, I think there was a running back who went to the Giants. I forget his name. But this is where I think you're going to start to see the payoff of all the great recruiting that they've done. I don't know that they're necessarily a national title type team because they have to replace so many people, especially on defense. I think they're going to be fine with the skill positions on offense. But you're going to see a lot of young players emerge, and I think you're going to see the benefits of all these top 10 recruiting classes that they've been putting together the last 3 or 4 years.
You hear it over and over. That's kind of the bread and butter of college football. Now, one of those guys that is not a question mark, quarterback Trace McSorley. He's the guy. This is his team. How does he fit?
Well, he has been tremendous since he stepped on the field at the Tax Slayer Bowl. There's been one game that they really haven't been competitive in. and that was Michigan 2 years ago. I mean, he has brought them back repeatedly in key situations. I mean, to me already, you can make a case that he's in the top 3 of their all-time quarterbacks in the same breath as Collins and Blackledge.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I think the thing, Neil, you mentioned it. You know, he's what 22-5 or something the last couple of years, and only one of those games were they truly out of. And the bigger part, though, is as much as Saquon Barkley has meant to this team, Trace McSorley was really the guy who had them in position to win every single one of those games except that Michigan game. So they didn't necessarily win all those games, but at the end of the game, they were either in there at Pitt a couple years ago going for the driving thing, or against USC in the Rose Bowl. They went up late and USC came back, but he was kind of the straw that stirred the drink, and I think everybody realizes that. And with the skill players they have coming back, I think they're going to be just fine on offense. He's the reason why.
The build of quarterbacks, you don't really have a blueprint anymore. He seems to break the, super tall guy, big, whatever. But, I mean, you watch him play, you get it.
Yeah, he's definitely, again, he's a gamer. Keeps us in every game. Obviously, even like what you said, you had one game that was a blowout game. But other than that, you always feel like you have a chance. So, like from a fan standpoint, you're looking at it like he's a guy. You feel like if you're down, you've got an opportunity. Or the last throw in that Iowa game last year. This guy's a winner. I mean, there's no question about it. And those are the intangibles that, that height or weight or arm strength or whatever you want to call it, you just can't measure that. But when you see him, you know he can win. And I like where we're set up. I mean, I like where we're set up with Stevens behind. I don't want to say behind him, but another guy on the team that, and he's durable.
Yeah, I think he gives them a reason to believe. I mean, this kid has played with so much heart. Yeah, but you mentioned Stevens. That magnifies McSorley even more because Stevens seems like he's been hurt through the spring and as recently as the picture day.
Yeah, and they're fortunate to have a third stringer in Sean Clifford, who they're really high on. He obviously redshirted last year, but he was their third teamer last year, even while redshirting. They didn't have to play him. I think they would be comfortable going to him if they had to. I don't think they're going to have to. I think Stevens is going to be fine. He was walking around in a boot at practice a couple days before we taped this, but I think ultimately he's going to be okay. And Trace McSorley, obviously the key guy.
The hype. Is there a Heisman Trophy quickly? Do you think Trace?
Well, he should be in the conversation.
Yeah.
I voted for him a couple years ago. I think he has meant that much, and his numbers have been worthy.
Yeah, I voted for him 2 years ago too. I gave him a third place vote. Didn't do it last year because I thought Saquon Barkley was the best player in the nation. But yeah, I mean, if you look at what his body of work, and I think the cool thing is you're starting to see other people appreciate that. I think for the first year and a half or so, people didn't quite get it. They thought maybe he was doing it with smoke and mirrors. But I think the national stage, Kirk Herbstreit's been really high on him. A lot of different people have been high on him, and that's been good to see.
All right, that's awesome, guys. Coming up next on Nittany Nation Overtime, who's going to step up for Penn State next season? We're going to take a look at some of those names you might not know now, but you might want to know soon. Next.
The NitWits are brought to you by Irwin Financial, Raymond James, an independent firm and a firm foundation for your financial future. By Coldwell Banker, no one will work harder to sell your home. By Courtesy Motor Sales of Altoona, where courtesy means a great deal. By The Allegro, where fine cuisine is a way of life. By Health South, your rehab choice. Health South Altoona, ask for us by name. By Monarch Cleaners, for all your dry cleaning, uniform, and mat rentals.
You're watching Nittany Nation Overtime.
All right, so welcome back to Nittany Nation Overtime. We're here with the NitWits, and now we're going to talk about those new faces. You always got to have guys step up every year. Who is a player or players that folks should watch out for this season? Let's start with Joe.
Well, I see offensive, defense side of the ball. On the offensive side, I see Miles Sanders. I mean, to me, it's going to be interesting. A little different than playing behind somebody like a Barkley, where he didn't really get a lot of time. It'll be interesting to see him carrying the load. In this day and age, the game has changed. You don't really have that one running back. I'd be a little bit more concerned. When I say concerned, I mean just the point of interest is on that offensive side. You need back 2 and 3. I mean to survive a season, especially if you're going to run the ball like we are. So that would be an area that I'd like to, see how that pans out. And then again, on the defensive side of the ball, just the young guys with, Micah Parsons. I mean, he's going to be, got a chance to coach against him last year. Here's a guy that
Joe's
really
on staff at State College.
Yep.
State High, from State High. He played down at Harrisburg.
Didn't go well, did it?
It did. It was going okay for 3 quarters, and then it was pretty interesting. But the guy is an unbelievable athlete. We're glad we have him up here at Penn State now, and he's going to do some really good things. So again, it'll be watching a younger guy at Mike like that to see what he can do. It'll be fun to see in the Big Ten.
Neil?
I'll go back. Brandon Polk, the whole operation was built around him in the 15 opener at Temple, and we haven't really heard much from him since. So not that we're going to see jet sweeps all the time with him, but I wonder, he does have speed. He's one of the fastest kids on the team, if not the fastest. I wonder if he'll get a chance. They're pretty loaded at receiver still, despite losing what they did. And I wondered about John Reed also coming back to provide leadership in the secondary.
Yeah, and I would have to go, Micah is the guy who, I think, and don't get me wrong here, he is wearing number 11. He's been blessed by LeVar Arrington to wear the number 11. But remember LeVar's first year where he basically was a backup player, was it Aaron Gatton that he was behind? And
right.
I think you're going to see Micah Parsons eventually emerge as a starter and be one of the more dominant players that they've had in a while. He's just that good. And I was kidding Joe because in that State High game, Micah actually returned like a kickoff. Yeah. He did all these different things. He's just such
running
a good,
back too. Yep.
Yeah. And then, a couple other kids to watch. I think Etor Gross-Matos, now with the issues they've had at defensive end, he's a sophomore, big kid. You wouldn't believe how big this kid is. Joe, I know you've seen him up close and personal, but 6'5", 260. And over on offense, Neil, I know you're talking about Polk, but to me, KJ Hamler is the sort of dynamic athlete that I think is going to be able to do some things for them as a redshirt freshman. Not the biggest guy in the world, but super quick. Don't know if they'll give him a chance to return punch. You saw a little bit of a clip of him there. He's a kid who hasn't played in a while. He was injured his senior year at high school, but it's just one of the quickest kids in the nation when he was healthy in high school.
Yeah, they featured him some in the blue-white game also.
Yeah.
Is there some true freshmen? How about Shorter? Is there plans for him?
Yeah, it looks like he's been banged up a little bit, but I think he's a kid who is going to be really, really, really good for them. He's 6'4", 230 pounds, runs sub 4.5. He's a wide receiver. In terms of other, Daniel George is a guy who we were seeing taking second team's reps at practice. He's another true freshman. And I think P.J. Mustafer, the defensive tackle, is the guy everybody's going to have to watch out for. He's the best combination of size and athleticism that they've had at tackle since Austin Johnson. He's that big. Now, for true freshmen, it's tough to contribute every down as a defensive lineman, but you're going to see him spotted in there and play a lot of football.
What about Slade? Could he be a factor?
And I think, Joe, when you mentioned the fact that, who do they have right now behind Miles, I think Slade is a guy, 5-star recruit out of Virginia. He's a smaller guy. He's about 5'9", but he's 200 pounds. He's bigger and stronger than you would think. I think you're going to see him do some good things as a backup running back and also maybe as a kick returner.
Now, how do these young guys fit into the need or some of those spots that were vacated from, guys going to the NFL or whatever it may be?
Well, with like what we're all talking about, the younger guys, that experience, it's very difficult, and you have to be extremely special to get in there immediately and make a big impact. Yeah. Game 5, 6, 7, 8 down the line, you're not so much a freshman anymore. But when, those freshmen to come in right out of high school like that, now the gray shirt helps them coming in early. They get a spring practice in, or spring season in, which is really good for the guys now. But it's tough to come in and really be that guy at any position, full-time starter, as a freshman. It's been done, and they're special and far and few between. But I see more spot play, like what you were saying, Mark, about, at linebacker or anywhere else, more than I would, down in and down out kind of player.
And typically it would be skill position guys that you could take advantage of their speed, and it takes linemen longer. And we saw a little clip there of Vlad Hilling, potential candidate at the place kicking spot where there is need.
Yeah, and one other quick note, this is where having the full complement of scholarships helps because they're not necessarily forced to play these guys. If you think about all the guys who went in the recent NFL draft, all those guys outside of Deshaun Hamilton had to play as true freshmen. You're talking about Saquon Barkley, you're talking about Marcus Allen, you're talking about Gesicki, you're talking about all those kids had to play. They don't necessarily have to do that anymore. It's getting back to where, like in your era, Joe, where they were able to take kids, and if they didn't have to play them, they could afford to redshirt them. The other thing to new redshirt rule.
Yes.
Players can play in up to 4 games this year and still maintain their redshirt. So don't be surprised if you see them test out kids here and there, and just let them dip their toe in the water a little
Especially
bit.
in the non-conference season.
Absolutely.
Sure.
We're in a new kind of era of college football. You no longer are burning those red shirts, which means you could see some of those young guys, and who knows, that's when people are going to step up and maybe earn some more playing time. All right, coming up next, we are going to give our season predictions, getting right into it. You'll find out how we expect the Nittany Lions to finish up this season.
The NitWits are brought to you by Reed and Solaney Orthodontics. Doctors Reed and Solaney provide orthodontics for children and adults. By W.S. Lee & Sons, your local food distributor. Go Penn State. By Allegheny Street Cigar. Allegheny Street Cigar, Blair County's only cigar lounge. By McAleer's Plumbing, specializing in plumbing, heating, and air conditioning, serving our community since 1886. By Shields Awards and the Sports Shop. We have a fantastic selection of awards, apparel, and memorabilia at great prices. By Freedom RV. Get ready to tailgate this Penn State football season with Freedom RV Rentals.
You're watching Nittany Nation Overtime.
Hey, welcome back to Nittany Nation Overtime. I'm Peter, joined by Mark, Neil, and Joe, our Nitwits, and we've been talking a ton, obviously, about Penn State football, but this is where we really get into the meat of it. Looking at start to finish, how do we think things are going to kind of go? You know?
I'm going to say 10-2. You know, I just think there's some real questions on defense. I think Jim Harbaugh is really due to come up with a signature win at Michigan. They open at Notre Dame. I think that there's going to be a circle in this game at Michigan. It's going to be a tough game. And then I see somewhere along the line, this home schedule could be the best that they have ever had with, 4 Wisconsin, 5 Ohio State, 11 Michigan State, Wisconsin. I mean, so I see 10-2.
Yeah, the good news is they have 5 home games in the off-balanced Big Ten schedule and 4 on the road. The difficult news, well, it's good news for fans, as Neil mentioned. You have Ohio State, you have Michigan State, you have Wisconsin, you have Iowa, you have all these power programs. The only one you're on the road against is Michigan. So I think somebody gets them there. I'm not sure who, but it's just going to be hard to win every single one of them. And I think maybe they lose one on the road somewhere. We have some trap games we're going to talk about. I'm going to go with 10-2 as well. I think just with what they've lost defensively, I think they're going to be fine offensively, but I think there's going to be some growing pains. They'll be good defensively by the end of the year, but I think you're going to see some growing pains in that first month and a half of the season.
I think early in the year you're going to maybe question some things because they're probably going to be feeling some of those games out early and they may struggle a little bit. But I think as we climb through here, you're going to see a really good team that gets better every week. I mean, that doesn't always happen. You get these teams and they sort of fall apart, but this is the kind of team in the program that we're building. I see them getting better every week and only playing, App State. So here we go. So, I mean, the way I see this thing playing out, I see a Penn State team at 12-0 in regular season. And so I see it that way because, I think that this is the kind of coaching staff, and the kind of atmosphere they're creating that it's, play by play, game by game. So I think they're going to stay focused and win.
He's a former player. We have to respect
that. Before we get to your pick, Pete, Mike Irwin predicted you'd go 12-0. He went 11-1, but of course he has no idea which the one is.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I wanted to work his
there you
pitches
go.
on.
I mean, I just go safe, right? 10-2. This team, it has question marks, but I don't really see them taking a step back. Taking that step forward is the big question, right? Because they've continuously built this thing, right? And so even though you got young guys, you expect to see those young guys, play well. That's what recruiting is all about.
Well, Ohio State's going to come in here pretty mad. Let's
Iowa is going to be very mad as well
all year.
Yeah.
How about your trap games?
My trap games. I would say, I don't even know if it's a real trap game, but I think Iowa is just going to be just really hot coming here. I feel like it's a team that you're winning 8-9 games a year, and the coach's job is safe, and the fans are pretty pleased, and it's not one of those hotbeds and not one of those national brands like you would say with Penn State. But the way things ended last year, I mean, you can't overlook that.
Yeah, I'll go. It's going to sound weird, but Indiana, because you're looking at Penn State playing Ohio State whiteout game. bye week and then Michigan State at home. And then you go out to Bloomington. And you know, Neil, we've been out there a bunch of times. That is such a bad atmosphere. Penn State usually has a trouble waking up. And I just think they better be ready to play. Kevin Wilson's in his, whoever the coach is there.
State.
Yeah, the guy who's there is in his second year.
Yeah.
Forgive me for getting his name. Yeah. So I think you're going to see some improvement there. But that playing out at Indiana, that is a difficult place to play because it's just not a great atmosphere, and they're going to be coming off of two fantastic atmospheres.
Right. Well, you know, I see a couple of different games in there, but again, I was talking earlier about building towards each one and making sure we're taking care of business. You know, the one I don't like so much, but they're not a very good team, is that Illinois Friday night.
Yeah.
Just not crazy about that game just because it's Friday. But again, I like the way our staff prepares them. So to me, you got to watch, you know, Michigan State's going to come in here hot. And I mean, we don't always play them real well. I mean, you know, as of last year, you know, you really got to watch that. And I totally agree with the Indiana game just because of the way it sets up in the schedule.
I'm going to say Pitt. You know, I still see it as a danger game over there. Penn State's going to be a couple touchdown favorites. We saw 2 years ago. James works real hard to try to tell it's not really a rivalry game.
Does.
I know he thought he got the idea that it's special, so hopefully they'll be ready to play
I
this
knew
year.
you were going to
But
bring that up.
At night, I think it's not going to be an easy game. And then Wisconsin doesn't really. Wisconsin flies under the radar. Now,
They're a
they may-
top 10 team.
Yeah,
How's
it
that a
really
trap
doesn't
game?
In the
qualify
Ohio
as a
I'm going to go with
trap
Ohio
game.
State as a trap game.
Well, I think, you know, obviously Ohio State and Michigan people always look at it.
Yeah.
I think Wisconsin.
No, nobody looks at Wisconsin
is
as being any
definitely
good.
an underrated program.
Aren't they a top 5, 6 team or 8 team or something?
I see it both
Yeah,
ways.
they're pretty good.
I
They're
see it
pretty
both
good.
ways. They are ranked preseason number 4. All right,
guys,
coming-
the question
Trap
about
game.
trap games.
all right, coming
My
up
definition
next.
of a trap game.
Playing up to the Pittsburgh fans here.
Good to see you, Mark.
All right, we're going to finish things up here on our season preview show, and we take a look at Week 1. App State coming to town. We'll tell you what to expect.
The NitWits are brought to you by Jethro's, serving ribs, steaks, Italian specialties, and the famous Prospector salad since 1983. Takeouts, delivery, and catering. By Lucky's Beer Distributor. Let Lucky's Beer get you ready for PSU game day. By Remax Results Realty Group. Committed to a culture of professionalism, productivity, and exceptional service. By EasyToUse.com. Your Yellow Pages connection in print and online. By Lions 247 with Fight on State, your online home for Penn State football and recruiting coverage. And by the Altoona Mirror, featuring Penn State Game Day every Friday and Penn State Extra every Sunday.
You're watching Nittany Nation Overtime.
All right, so this is Nittany Nation Overtime. We're going to wrap things up, and let's get right to it. Predictions. App State, Week 1.
I'll shoot first here.
Yep.
You know, I don't know a whole lot about them, to be honest with you. I know that, you know, they beat Michigan, what, 07 you said? It was 11 years ago. You know, it's App State, App State, App State. That's what they preach. I'm going to say Penn State 62,
Whoa.
App State 17.
Wow, Joe.
Nice.
Okay. You know, they were 9-4 last year. They've been good in the Sun Belt, and I was surprised. They pounded Toledo in a bowl game 34-0, and Toledo was 9-3. And they returned a lot of guys. So I'm going to say 42 to Penn State for Penn State and 21 for App State. I just see it as, you know, a slightly competitive game.
Yeah, I think the difference here is going to be Penn State's offensive line. I think they're going to I don't want to say score at will, but I think they're going to be able to do some things offensively. I don't think you're going to see their whole bag of tricks. They may be able to keep some things in their back pocket. I know James Franklin would cringe at me saying that, but I think you're going to see a relatively easy win. I'll go 40-14.
I'll say, let's
This is the most
let's
important
lean on
thing
the
you're gonna do.
defense. All right. Let's lean on this defense with question marks. They need a way to gain some confidence. Let's say 35-7.
Okay,
right.
we're all set up.
That's going to
Nice
do it for
debut,
us.
Pete.
I appreciate it. Thanks for
62.
watching, folks. You'll see us every week.
The NitWits are brought to you by Irwin Financial, Raymond James, an independent firm and a firm foundation for your financial future. By Coldwell Banker, no one will work harder to sell your home. By Courtesy Motor Sales of Altoona, where courtesy means a great deal. By The Allegro, where fine cuisine is a way of life. By Health South, your rehab choice. Health South Altoona, ask for us by name. By Monarch Cleaners, for all your dry cleaning, uniform, and mat rentals. By Reed and Solaney Orthodontics. Doctors Reed and Solaney provide orthodontics for children and adults. By W.S. Lee & Sons, your local food distributor. Go Penn State. By Allegheny Street Cigar. Allegheny Street Cigar, Blair County's only cigar lounge. By McAleer's Plumbing, specializing in plumbing, heating, and air conditioning, serving our community since 1886. By Shields Awards and the Sports Shop. We have a fantastic selection of awards, apparel, and memorabilia at great prices. By Freedom RV. Get ready to tailgate this Penn State football season with Freedom RV Rentals. By Jethro's, serving ribs, steaks, Italian specialties, and the famous Prospector Salad since 1983. Takeouts, delivery, and catering. By Lucky's Beer Distributor. Let Lucky's Beer get you ready for PSU game day. By Remax Results Realty Group. Committed to a culture of professionalism, productivity, and exceptional service. By EasyToUse.com. Your Yellow Pages connection in print and online. By Lions 247 with Fight on State, your online home for Penn State football and recruiting coverage. And by the Altoona Mirror, featuring Penn State Game Day every Friday and Penn State Extra every Sunday. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.